The man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students is due back in court tomorrow. It's a hearing which could alter the entire defense strategy for Bryan Kohberger. There's a motion to compel prosecutors to share certain evidence and to stay the trial. So far, we know some of the evidence includes DNA found on a knife sheath left at the crime scene, which allegedly is linked to Kohberger. The defense claims he was driving alone at the time of the murders and that the grand jury process to indict him was unfair. So this trial is set for October. Let's bring in NewsNation legal contributor Jesse Weber. Jesse, thanks for being with us. Before we dig into the specifics of these two motions, just how important will the judge's decisions here be?
It's everything. It determines what this trial will look like and when this trial is ultimately going to happen. So I can't stress it enough. There's been a lot of important moments during the course of this case, but tomorrow could dictate what we're actually going to see, what the potential defense can be, and when this trial is actually going to take off. Call me cynical. I just don't imagine an October trial date unless the defense does a 180 and says they're ready to go. I just can't imagine everything at stake, death penalty case, so much evidence that this is going to happen in under 2 months. I just don't see it.
All right, exactly, because I mean, here we are already past mid-August. So let's say a stay is granted. How long could that be in place?
So that leads us to the big issue about what the evidence is going to be, because one of the big issues that this is focused on tomorrow is, does the defense have a right to the prosecution's evidence regarding genetic genealogy? And when I say that, I mean all of the communications between lab personnel and these databases, whether or not other profiles were developed of potentially other suspects. Because if the defense gets everything that they want, a full spectrum of how how investigators use genetic genealogy to track to Bryan Kohberger, that could ultimately delay the trial. There is a lot to sort through. They're going to probably hire their own experts to strike at that evidence. And I don't think it's crazy to suggest that this trial could be pushed out into 2024 if that becomes a battle of what we're seeing.
All right, so Jesse, so help us understand that. So why is this information that the defense doesn't already have? Because I thought that both sides had to share what they have. Is that not the case?
That is the case. It's discovery. Both sides have to share. Well, the prosecution has to share with the defense what they have. The prosecution, the way I understand it, has been a little selective in this. They said the defense doesn't have a right to know the methodology by which they use genetic genealogy, by which investigators use genetic genealogy. It also would compromise certain methods that they used, and if other profiles were developed of other, maybe not suspects, just other people, that could invade on the privacy rights of these other individuals. Should the defense have a right to say, hey, you know, we saw that you developed the profiles for John Smith and Mary Kay and all these different people. Should the defense have a right to do that? And I think that's a valid argument for the prosecution. Having said that, we're talking about arguably the most important piece of evidence in the case, DNA linking the defendant to the crime. I do wonder if the judge is going to try to split the baby a little bit and say maybe the defense has a right to certain information, not everything that they're asking for, but certain information in order to mount a defense, because that is, in my opinion, the critical piece of evidence in this case.
All right, so the DNA seems to be the critical piece of evidence right now when it comes to the case against Kohberger. But on the flip side of this, I mean, is the defense maneuvering in a way that makes sense right now, in your opinion?
They're throwing a lot of different interesting legal theories, because we can't also forget what tomorrow is too. They're saying there's been a whole problem with the grand jury, and this trial needs to be delayed so they can investigate how the grand jury came back with an indictment. What was it, about a month ago? We were talking about how they were questioning, did the grand jury, were they instructed wrong on how to actually come up with an indictment? Well, now the defense is saying there were problems in the grand jury selection process. You had grand jurors who didn't fill out the forms the correct way. There was improper questions or commentary happening during the grand jury process. And so the defense is saying we have a right to investigate this. Prosecution is saying this is a waste of time. They're saying even if a grand juror made a clerical mistake on a form, that's not enough to actually change the grand jury outcome. And so it's going to be up to the judge to determine, should the defense get a little bit more time to strike at the validity of the grand jury indictment. That in of itself could delay the trial. as well. And so it's been very interesting to see the defense strike at the grand jury indictment. Usually that doesn't happen. So I'm curious to see if it works.
Jesse, I always love speaking to you. You break it down in a way I think we can all understand. So thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.